Ghana for for any obi biara aha Ghanatube so modofo snowy any abusian for matana say maji akonye die no mehu say ai ensem no edos ye pa eno na mede boy say wonsom no eno any nipa abusian for entempa no di mechie na ensem bia ewo ho ana say bia ekoso ewo manga nim no say memfa ensom di mechi.
Talk about the precious mineral because the Bank of Ghana's total gold reserves has reached record levels of 31.37 tons ending April this year. But what could be the impact of this development on the cedi and, of course, efforts by the central bank to move away from holding its reserve in dollars? George Yafi tells us more.
New levels represent more than 200% jump compared to the Bank of Ghana's position ending 2022 of just under 80 tons. The development has been influenced by the Bank of Ghana's gold purchase program. This has seen the central bank purchase significant amount of gold for mining companies in Ghana for its reserves. The move was part of its program to move away from holding significant amount of the country's international reserves in dollars and also move away from assets and currencies that exposes the Bank of Ghana's reserves to global volatilities and shocks. There is also a signaling effect for the Ghana cedi, and how this shows that the Bank of Ghana is still in a strong position to support the local currency based on its strong gold reserves position. Data Bank in its latest market update, for instance, has revealed that the cedi has appreciated by more than 7% against the US dollar since the beginning of this year. Some industry experts have argued that if the Bank of Ghana should sustain this gold purchase program, then the high volatility associated with the Ghana cedi over the years should be a thing of the past.
Let's now bring in the views of a finance person. Dr. Benjamin Amwa is a senior finance lecturer at the University of Ghana Business School, and he joins us via Zoom. Pleasure you could join me, sir, on Business Live. First off, your thoughts about the strong growth in gold reserves of the Bank of Ghana, hitting 31.37 trillion ending April 2025.
It's a good sign, because it is part of the domestic gold purchase arrangement that Bank of Ghana has in place. And over time, BOG has committed enough resources to build the currency buffer or the reserve buffer of the state. Like your report said, the attempt to diversify the international reserves of the country will mean that the state will have to, or BOG will have to look beyond US dollars and then look for another currency, another asset that is highly in demand on the international market. In this case, that is a gold. So indeed, as gold prices increases, it means that our reserve position is also increasing. So it is good that indeed BOG has committed to, and we are seeing this huge tonnage being recorded by BOG by way of gold purchase.
Let's look at the explanation given on the back of that. The BOG attributes the strong growth in its gold reserves over the years to the domestic gold purchase program, which was launched sometime in 2021, June, I recall. But what will this mean to you, especially when you look at the program? Do you think we should sustain it?
Yeah, in fact, the program will be sustained because if you look at the recent Ghana Gold Board Act, the Ghana Gold Board Act makes it mandatory for the Gold Board to now assume the purchases of the gold on behalf of Bank of Ghana. So what the Ghana Gold Board will do is that they'll purchase it and then sell it to BOG. So that will also supply more or less, rest assured BOG about gold supply. In the end, it will work. It will work in our interest because gold is a commodity that is always in high demand. And if you have seen the recent price increases, it means that we are benefiting compared to keeping the reserves in bonds, in US denominated bonds, that we stand the risk of losing interest based on what happens internationally. And also, if you look at what is happening in the geopolitics of America and its impact on the dollar, if you keep your reserve in the US dollars, you are exposed to the variabilities that exist in the geopolitical economic situation we find ourselves. So a safe haven like gold will then protect us from all the vulnerabilities that we have in the international financial market. What we can do is to continue with the gold and purchase it, but of course, we should also try as much as possible to still keep some reserves in the US dollars because we are diversifying the pool. And so we should be mindful of how much of it we purchase and then also keep an eye on the dollars that we need to diversify the currency reserve.
Dr. Anwar, talk to me about the impact of this development of the CD, for example. Already we are seeing some stability over the period.
Yeah, the stability of the CD, yes, one can attribute it to what is happening currently on the macroeconomic front of the economy. But you see, globally, the dollar has been experiencing some difficulties, right? So if you look at the CD's performance in the setting of the international currency space, realize that naturally our currency will attract some interest. We should not also forget the fact that once we keep on purchasing the gold, it provides some assurance and confidence to investors that our reserves is not based on the dollar, which is having challenge on the international market, but it's rather based on the safe haven currency called gold. So that, insulates the CD from what we are experiencing. If we had compared a situation where we have kept our currencies in the dollars. So what is happening is that now the dollar is having some challenge, and the go-to place now for investors is to hedge in the gold. So if you have a central bank that is posting increased gold tonnage, the chances are that investors will prefer to keep their funds in such a currency for such a central bank than to look elsewhere. So in the midst of all the factors, one can at the moment assign the fact that the gold purchase that Bank of Ghana is undertaking is also contributing to the strength that we are seeing in the Ghana cedi.
So wouldn't you recommend that we move all the reserves into gold?
That will not be the best way to go. You want to always hold a diversified pool of assets. So yes, gold may be doing so well now, but it's always good you diversify across different asset pool than to offload all your interest into one particular asset, which will then concentrate the risk. Tomorrow, if gold prices start declining, what are we going to do? So yes, we are benefiting, but we need to be measured. And it's better if you hold a well-diversified international reserve portfolio than to keep all our reserves in the gold.
Going forward, how do we sustain this momentum?
Yeah, I think BOG has what it takes to monitor the international financial market. With the coming to being of the Ghana Gold Board, there will be some level of certainty and certainty and assurance around gold purchase and gold supply, and that will help. In fact, that will really help in how much gold BOG can hold and how much CDs BOG can use to purchase. The only problem is that we should watch and be careful that the gold purchase, in other words, the funds that BOG is using to purchase the gold, is not coming from printed currency, but it's rather coming from BOG's own resources, and not a case of just printing more CDs to buy the gold. If we can move away from that, then we can sustain the gains that we have.
Very well. Thank you so much, Dr. Benjamin Amoah. He's a senior finance lecturer at the University of Ghana Business School. I truly appreciate your time.
Yo, for yako aba ute in semno ese ode anase anya ode day and what dintre for our dintre no ewu kimi comment section no na menje bre enkinkan emo fefe aha Ghanatube so ebusian for sisiade my crown.